Um, Interesting that they would even select me, to participate because I was the only Spanish one there.
Among the Queen candidates, who asked you to participate, Mama, to be a Queen candidate? Who asked you to participate to be a Queen candidate?
One of the sororities elected me.
But you weren't even a sorority. Huh? You were not a sorority member.
No, they were introducing us, I guess, to see. Mm-hmm. If I know that later on I qualified for the one for the Spanish.
Oh.
And I joined that one.
Huh.
But it was, this about the bread, that was typical of what I would do in any situation.
Little did they know it was their undoing.
And there was this Andy Chacon from Peñasco. And he used to like me, and he expected me to invite him to be my escort to the dance. And not knowing any better again, see, I didn't invite him. I invited somebody that was from town. He wasn't even attending school. He was working in one of the stores there. And I met him, and I liked him, and he was very nice with me. Mm-hmm. And Andy was a good dancer, and but I didn't care for him. So it's funny.
No. Oh, Mom was asking me.
But it was so much fun because after dinner in the evening, there's a building that's called Kennedy Hall, and we had to go to home, study. Study at a certain hour. So before then, we had maybe like 40 minutes, 45 minutes to dance, and one of the students was, he played the piano. And he played the piano, and we all danced, and I remember, I'm bragging, but I would come into the dining room, and I didn't even get a chance to go sit or any place. Somebody would meet me at the door and take me to dance.
Oh, really?
And that's where we learned to dance, because we had plenty of practice.
Uh-huh.
So,
what kind of music did they play on the piano? What kind of music did he play on the piano?
A lot of jitterbug.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that was fun because I liked to do that, and I thought I was good. Funny. And Barbara and I used to sing.
Oh, yeah?
So we sang in those minutes, that we had, not all the time, but I would sing the alto, and Barbara, we thought we sang pretty good.
What did you sing?
Huh?
What did you sing?
What did I...
What did you sing? What kind of songs?
What kind of what, friend?
What kind of songs did you sing?
Thought.
Songs.
Oh, songs.
Yes.
I thought you said the shoes.
Did you
Well,
sing
there was
some
this
of the
popular
pop-
music that appealed, I guess, to the young people. That's what we went in, and it was so nice right away. Somebody would pick me at the door, and let's go dance, and here we go dance. So whoever didn't know how learned there. And the guy that played the piano, I don't even remember what his name was. He was Anglo. But there was real mixing, among the two races there. We knew all the gringos, and even the, ¿cómo se llama? The one that works for the university in a high position there. What name something?
The president?
Huh?
Or the dean?
You talking about the dean? The dean of the
Yeah.
college?
The dean.
Uh-huh.
Even he would ask me to dance.
Oh, really? Gee. That's pretty good.
So he was not very, I don't think he was married. and of course all of us were single and happy, and we were working, earning 35 cents an hour.
Doing what?
But it, you know, for the university, we have some kind of job, and that's what we got paid. And that's about how much probably we would pay into, you know, for our tuition. It was inexpensive for us.
The good old days.
Yeah.
And
Good old days.
Riley and I were in one room, and Barbara and Mary Espinosa were in the other one. There were suites.
Have fun.
So we were, you know, close. We knew each other. We felt very good living next to each other. And then some of the other girls were, like there were 3 sisters from Black Lake. And they must have had money, because I think they had means, you know, by livestock or something that they would sell. Because they were not scared of anything. And they used to like to dance too. Everybody liked to dance, and whoever didn't have any fun, to us it seemed.
Mom, did Barbara go to school with you in El Rito?
Pardon?
Did Barbara go to school with you in El Rito? Barbara, how did you
Barbara.
know her?
Louis,
Yeah.
little boy. And her mother was a school teacher. And her sister, her older sister, used to go to Highlands to school. So we didn't lack for friends, you know. We made friends pretty easily. And some of those teachers, I don't know where that teacher was. A lot of students didn't like her because she was so strict. But I think the fact that she was strict helped us to learn something about not necessarily the books, but how to be among others.
Yeah.
How not to eat 2 pieces of bread. It was like a big, I remember it was like a small biscuit,
Yeah.
but I can just see ourselves pitching from the plate as we went by.
It's a good thing you grab everything. Yeah.
But I was very cooperative when I needed help or anything. I offered to do things, you know, that I thought would win me some points.
Now, I was telling Mom that Taylor, Cameron's girlfriend, had told him to tell Kira to, you know, get involved with the sororities.
Oh, yeah.
And so she was kind of thinking of that. And Mom said, "Is she always so quiet?" And I said,
And somebody said, well, why don't you go to the doctor and tell him something that will convince him that you need to go home. So I went, and before I went, see, I had one of the girls, my girlfriend said, here's some mental light and put some on your eyes so it'll look like you're crying. because you got a pain in your mouth and you don't know what it is, and ¿qué fue lo que me dijo? I went over there, he examined me and all. Oh, and he said, that's it? You got an abscess on that gum. So salí there and I went smiling to my room and I told the girls, I got an abscess in my gum, I gotta go with you guys.
And did you go?
And when they went to pick up Elsie, see, there was no transportation. You couldn't get out of El Rito without going with a mail carrier.
Oh, really?
There wasn't any transportation. So when they came for Elsie, I was ready too, and I went to the dance. They brought us back on Sunday.
Mom, where was the dance?
Huh?
Where was
In
the
Cuesta,
dance? Oh,
and that's where the wedding was.
oh.
Elsie was a fun person. She lives here in Albuquerque.
She does?
Mm.
You ever talk to her?
No.
No?
She used to live here in Rio Rancho. And I think her son, she married a kind of an affluent guy. You know, he was from New York and he went to live in Taos. And she met him, and I don't think he would have been somebody that Elsie would have married, but he had money. And she had clout, so she married him, and they went on their honeymoon. I don't know where to anyway. I think to the, where is that big waterfall?
Oh, Niagara Falls?
¿Cómo?
Niagara Falls?
Niagara.
Yeah, Niagara. That's where they went on their honeymoon. See, we were learning a lot about what could possibly.
Hi, Dad.
Say, oh, que bien aquí con tus historias mojosas aquí. You know, instead of agreeing with him once in a while. And then he would say, yeah, aquí de razón que yo no hago nada. Yo hago más que ustedes, embolado allá que ustedes aquí. You know, nomás, like everybody was just trying to find something to begrudge him about, and didn't agree with him. So he would say, yo voy a quemar esta casa. He was going to burn the house. And he had one of those aceiteras, we call, you know, that he brought kerosene, I guess, for the lamps in the house. And he brought, I remember that aceitera because on the spout here, you know, they have a long spout like that, and he put a potato there, and that would keep the kerosene from spilling when he took it home, because he hardly ever traveled on foot. He either got a ride to take him home, or he had his horse, and the horse waited for him all day there, and then took him home in the evening. But que iba a quemar la casa. Corre, quémala, le dijo mamá. Mamá era, you know, cabezuda, hard-headed. So agarraba la aceitera y se iba para afuera. Y yo creo que he pretended that he was going to burn the house, and he was sprinkling the adobe outside, you know. Well, that wasn't going to burn. But he never burned the house.
God, talk about domestic violence.
And Moises was, my mother used to tell me about when my dad was, he had a grudge against my mother because she didn't accept his way of living.
Who, your dad or Moises?
And we had the 2-story house.
Mom, your dad or Moises?
Huh?
She had the grudge against who, your dad or Moises?
Who was going to burn the house?
No, you said she had a grudge. Was it against your dad or Moises?
My dad. He had a grudge against my mother.
Oh.
And Moises was, I guess, on the downstairs, you know, because we had a house had 2 porches. And my mother was upstairs, and I guess my dad was threatening that he was going to burn the house. And Moises would tell him, Mamá, apéese por ahí. She was by one of the columns of the house. And, you know, they're not very high, so she could have easily slid down, you know, and Moses was afraid that he was going to help burn the house and she was going to be in it.
Mm.
And my mother told Moses, pues que venga y me queme, si es tan hombre que venga y me queme. You know? Of course, he would give up that idea because he wasn't going to scare my mother. But she had a hard time because every time that they would, you know, they would get into a fight like that, he would take the children and he would go to, my mother would go to Tio Maclovio, who lived maybe half a mile or so going towards Cabresto, and just to get away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, and my mother would say, le decía yo, well, how come you don't leave him? My mother, I would tell my mother, why do you stay with him? And she would say, ¿y para dónde me voy, hijo? ¿Con qué me voy? She didn't have any money, and she had no way of going any place except to my to my uncle's. And my uncle was the sheriff of the community, so he didn't forgive him anything. If he had to put him in jail, he'd do it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
see, there's two sides to and more sides to the stories. But he would come and he would sit next to me on the bed, you know, and then he would start telling me all these nice things. And when he came, see, there was supposed to be, according to him, there was supposed to be wood and kindling in the house for him to start a fire so he could fix himself a meal, because he hadn't eaten. And he would come home with a big chunk of meat. You know, she would go butcher an animal for one of his friends, and instead of them paying money, they would give him a piece of meat. And I guess somebody that he did that for wanted to pay him with flank, you know, which is not the most tender meat of the animal. And my father said, no, let me have that knife. And he would cut the piece that he was entitled to and, and take it home.
Mom, why would they ask him to butcher the animal?
Because he knew how, and he was willing to. And they could pay him with little, you creo, piece of meat, you know. And that was, my father was not greedy. He would take that, but they weren't going to pay him with the worst part of the animal. They're going to let him take what he considered his work was worth.
But Mom, so did he butcher the animals for a lot of people or just a few friends?
No, he had certain people that he would do things like that for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Eugenio says that when my dad got home in the evening, maybe close to 12 or so, and sometimes there was no wood because my mother would hide it, so she would have wood to start the fire the next morning, and he would have a fit, and he was talking away over there, que esto no vale mierda, que no traen ni leña, ni nada. When he was supposed to be at home, you know, seeing that they brought wood to the house. And Jean says that he remembers that my dad, I guess if things were pleasant, when he came home, he would build a fire and he would cut the meat and he would fry meat. As Jean said, as soon as we smelled the meat, we woke up and here we come quietly to see if my dad, I guess, when he saw them, told me he told, especially from cabrito, because it was more tender.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he remembers how he said, we were barely awake and we were walking over to the kitchen to see if we would get some meat. They probably never got too much meat to eat. But it was an interesting life the way they lived then.
That's when they lived in town, Mom? Closer in...
¿Cómo?
Is that when they lived, like, closer to Cabresto? More in town?
Closer to what?
Is that when they lived closer to the church?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But see, he had friends like Mr. Cardenas.